Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. Today, gonna do the what's next on Artur Beterbiev, the undefeated and unified light heavyweight champion of the world. He made an IBF mandatory defense of his titles on Saturday, March 20th, when he main evented an ESPN Plus card from Russia. He took on Adam Deines, his upgraded mandatory number one contender and of the IBF. And Deines didn't do too bad. Deines actually was boxing, landing some shots, but the guy had very little power. He couldn't keep Beterbiev off. Beterbiev just kept charging in, kept landing hard, big shots. Finally wore Deines down in the fifth round. He really started doing some damage. Fifth and sixth round, really started pressing the action, and ended up scoring an impressive knockout win in that one to retain his unified light heavyweight championship. So now the big question is, what's next for Artur Beterbiev following that big victory? So let's run. Obviously he wants to unify belts. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's possible for the unified champ now that he's in optional mode. From what all intents and purposes, he's in optional mode. The WBC currently doesn't have a mandatory number one contender for him. I think they still need to settle that with some kind of an eliminator, so he can pretty much do what he wants next, as far as I know it. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's next for Artur Beterbiev. Okay, so I have him number 2 personally. So number 1 versus a unification bout with undefeated Beterbiev. I don't think this fight happens next, but I'm not going to completely rule it out because Bivol seems to have his next 2 fights set. He's taking on Craig Richards on I believe May 1st on a DAZN undercard. He'll defend his title, shake off some rust, and then after that, it looks like he has a fight lined up with undefeated Gilberto Ramirez. But that doesn't mean that him and Beterbiev wouldn't fight each other if the fight was on the table. So I do think that fight still could be possible for later on this year, but I think they're going to build it a little more for an undisputed title clash between the two. That's what I think is going to happen first, or I think that they really want. I think Bivol will fight Ramirez, and Beterbiev will go in a different direction, trying to add another world title, and then when they clash, either end of this year or early next year, it's for all 4 titles undisputed. So we'll see, but that's my opinion. It definitely could be possible for Beterbiev next. Number 3 is the former world title challenger Joe Smith Jr. Now, I think a fight with Joe Smith very possible if Joe Smith gets by Maxim Vlasov on April 10th. They are fighting for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. Joe Smith is a favorite heading into that fight. If he beats Vlasov, which most feel he will, I feel he will, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as everybody is making it out to be, then I definitely think they would collide for the later on this year. I think Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev lock horns for to unify belts. I think that's definitely going to happen. So that, to me, if Joe Smith beats Maxim Vlasov, then he is next in line for Artur Beterbiev. That's my opinion. That's what I think, but we'll see. Excuse me. Number 4, would be a shot, defending his title against former champ Eleider Alvarez. Alvarez is still in the process of making his return following that brutal knockout loss to Joe Smith last August. He's not an option for Beterbiev. It wouldn't make any sense right now for Beterbiev to fight him. It's a makeable fight, but I just don't think it makes sense, so why take the risk? Number 5 is Sergey Kovalev. Now, Kovalev still needs to make a return after what is close to now a 1.5-year layoff since he got knocked out against Canelo. Now, I wouldn't completely take this fight off the table, but I'm not sure Kovalev really wants Beterbiev next, but Kovalev might be running out of time. If he comes back and gets a knockout, he might say fuck it and go for Beterbiev. And it's such a money-making fight, and these guys have really talked a lot of shit about each other in the past that I think it would be makeable if Kovalev wanted it. but I don't know if he would. So we got to wait and see, but definitely think it could happen. Number six is a WBA regular champion, Jean Pascal. Another fighter with a big name, and both Beterbiev and Pascal fight out of Canada. So I wouldn't completely rule it out because Pascal has a name, but he has a secondary world title. So I think it's one of those fights where Beterbiev would take it if he couldn't get like Joe Smith or other guys in the ring. He would take it because Pascal has a name, but the secondary world title really wouldn't do much for Beterbiev. So I don't think it really would attract to him that well. So I'm not seeing that one. Number 7 is Marcus Brown, former interim champion. Now, Marcus Brown is in line to fight for the final eliminator for the WBC, but he still has to do that, and I don't think Beterbiev would fight him just on, just because, he's a risk, and I don't think he's a big enough name, and I think Beterbiev's looking for bigger options. Number 8 is former two-division champion Badou Jack. Now I like this fight. I think this fight is definitely possible, but I don't think it's going to happen next. I just don't see it. But because of the promotion. But I think Beterbiev, it's another one of those fights where, like, if he can't get Joe Smith for some reason, and Badou Jack would be willing to fight him, I think he'd go for it. But I really think Badou Jack and Jean Pascal are going to finalize their rematch, and I don't think Jack would be there, but I'm not going to completely rule it out either. Number 9 is the undefeated former super middleweight champion, Gilberto Ramirez. Well, Gilberto Ramirez, I think, wants to fight Beterbiev, but right now it's not likely next. I think Ramirez is going to come back in the next couple months, debut with his Golden Boy promotional contract now on DAZN, get a win, and then he's lined up to likely fight Dimitri Bivol after that later on in the year. And if he beats him, then Undisputed would be on the table late this year, early next year, with him and Beterbiev most likely. So I think that's what he's going to do. But you never know. But I really don't think Ramirez wants to work with Top Rank just yet for this fight. So I'm going to lean towards a no. And then number 10, I still have a two-way tie there. I have Lyndon Arthur there. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I think Beterbiev wants a bigger fight next, so I'm going to lean towards a no. And then, I can't remember who I have him tied with. It might be Jesse Hart. And, Jesse Hart, it would be a makeable fight, but another one where I think Beterbiev's just going to lean towards other things. So Beterbiev has a lot of options, but what I really think is, I think the winner of Joe Smith and Maxime Vlasov, it's almost a given that they're going to unify belts with Beterbiev, because Beterbiev's in optional mode. That is a mandatory fight between the two, and they would not have a mandatory due after fighting each other. So it's definitely a makeable fight, and I think Beterbiev wants to unify those belts so he can set up that huge showdown with Dimitri Bivol possibly later this year or early next year. So I think the winner of that fight is almost a shoe-in to fight Beterbiev next. Other possible options, as I said, Kovalev, Jesse Hart, different names like that. Lyndon Arthur maybe as a reach, but I really believe that Beterbiev wants a big fight and a unification, and I definitely think it's Joe Smith. The winner of Joe Smith and Maxime Vlasov is going to be next for the unified and undefeated champion, Artur Beterbiev. So that's it. That's what's next on Artur Beterbiev. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been here with the truth.